Hey everybody, this is the Erroneous One with a new Kingdom Hearts Union Cross video. I'm doing a video today that I've been wanting to do for a while now, actually, and it is indeed going to be about traits. Traits are interesting. Traits change the game. I think the trait system had the biggest impact on the game on the whole, in terms of how it's played, how people do things, what medals can actually do now going forward. I mean, traits had a huge impact on all of that. So they're a big thing. And we've gotten to the point now where, it's been about almost, well, what? It's been a month, so it's about since we've gotten them. So we've all gotten kind of used to them and in terms of what they do. And the traits have already been changed a little bit to, I guess, better accommodate the game. Which is also interesting, too. So my biggest thing is, what traits are good and what traits are bad? What traits do you want on medals and what traits do you not want on medals? We're going to get into that one. The main thing on this one we're going to get for that is going to be, it's situational. By far, I think we can all agree that nobody wants to see any kind of status resistance trait. That should just go away, honestly. And I think Cena is realizing that nobody wants those, that nobody gets those. I'm sure they have, I'm sure people have given feedback on that, and I don't think they watch me, because I'm nowhere near, big time, some of the other streamers and content creators for this game actually are. But I've seen them say a few things, too, how they always skip over stash resistance traits, which is true. I do, too. I don't want to see a single stash resistance trait on any of my medals ever. Especially those limited ones, anything any of the high score medals, for instance. I don't want to see a stash or trait on those at all. I only get 2 rolls on those tier 4 ones, like the high end reward ones. You only get 2 rolls, and you don't want to waste 2 rolls on stash resistances. So that's an issue, and I can't help but wonder if maybe Cena's been kind of hearing that, and they're trying to get people a little more encouraged to keep stash resistances. Because if you guys look at the current Xaldin, oh, no, sorry, not Xaldin. I'll just play with them. Sorry, the current Lexaeus B event, there's a Quest 12 has that dual Durandal, and that dual Durandal casts paralysis like nobody's business. And obviously, if you have the stash resistance for paralysis, you're going to have a better time in that event in any of your medal setups there. But nobody has that. Nobody wants that. And so that's making that quest a bit harder than it might have otherwise been, because people are doing their absolute best to, not absolute best, they're just straight up not keeping those traits if they can avoid it. So that may have been Cena's attempt to try and get us to keep traits. If they ever watch us, or if they ever watch my video, I'm telling you, Cena, right now, I don't care. I'm never going to keep a stash resistance trait, because they're wasting my time and they're wasting my resources, and they're the last thing I want to see when I'm rolling medals, especially medals I pay for and that are hard to get like that, are so limited. I don't want to see that. So, but again, I doubt they see me. But what traits are good? What traits are bad? Again, that's going to depend entirely upon the situation, what you're doing. A lot of you know this. I'm making this guide for some of the newer players out there who may stumble upon my page. But for the most part, let's start with buffer medals. Buffer medals and debuffer medals. A buffer medal is anything that buffs you, anything that increases your attack or your there's 2 levels of buffing. There is general attack up, which is just basic strength up, and then there are going to be attribute attack ups, which is also called PSM, which is power, speed, and magic. Anything that increases those, you want to have the extra attack trait on as best as possible, because they are going to obviously double their effect. So Iago right here, for instance, my Iago got pretty lucky. He's a 0 gauge, but he has extra attack. So that means whenever he goes off, I'm going to be able to activate his Restore 4 gauges special twice, which means I'll get back 8 gauges. Now, since he costs 0, obviously I won't pay anything for it, but it's double my investment now. I'm now getting 8 gauges back instead of getting back only 4. So that puts him almost on par in terms of SP replenishment of a Kingdom Hearts 2 illustrated Kairi, which is very nice to have. That's a great skill to have on this dude, and I'm glad I got it on him. I got pretty lucky there. So Iago is great for that. For medals that are going to be like this one here, Key Art 5, for instance. And this is where I was saying where, you don't want to see a stash resistance. There were only 2 copies of this medal given out thus far. You only got a copy for guilting either Kingdom Hearts 2 Kairi or Kingdom Hearts 2 Illustrated Sora. So when I rolled mine, I got Max Gauges +2, which was okay, and it's better than a stash resistance. Not the one I wanted to see, obviously. I wanted double attack on this guy, but that's okay. But things like that, when you see that, with metals that are that limited, you don't want to see things like the stash resistance on him. But SP gauge 2 on him isn't bad either. It helps increase the gauge and helps take out the cost of his being the 3 cost there. Other metals going forward, though, it's going to get a little more tricky, and it's going to depend upon what you want to use the metal for. So primarily, for your primary attackers, the metals that do the most damage for your attacking, you want to have aerial and ground enemy defense down. Like my Illustrated Halloween story here, I got very lucky. I got both ground and aerial enemy defense down by 60%. And even more lucky on my Dark Riku. My Dark Riku, I gave him the full AB3 Max plus SP gauge 2 on him. He is fully chip and daled, fully gilded, and is also fully equipped with ground and aerial enemy defense down by 60%. This makes this guy a train wreck of a metal. Now, in some regards, people may go, well, he lowers your defense of all targets by 1 tier for 2 turns. Wouldn't you want a double cast on this guy? Yeah, I can see that. Having double cast on him would be very good. But when you guys are doing higher level enemies, and let's Colosseum is the best example. When you start getting enemies that are like level 450, level 500 plus, that's extra attack doesn't do anything. The main goal in Colosseum and the main goal in the majority of all of our quests are to defeat the target enemies or defeat all enemies within 1 turn. So having that extra buff in there for that second turn, it's nice to have, but it doesn't help you achieve the objectives, and you want to achieve the objectives to get the rewards for achieving the objectives. So in Colosseum, you want to knock out all enemies in the first turn. Having aerial and ground defense minus 60 on this guy helps me achieve that goal, because no matter what he does, he's always going to deal that negative 60 against all enemy types. It doesn't matter if they're on the ground or in the air, he hits all of them equally. So that's one of the things they changed. That was the one trait they changed, and I'm really glad they did, because beforehand, before they did that change, all it was a negative 20% for ground or aerial, and it would stack. So at most, you can get like minus 40 ground or minus 40 air on a single metal, and that's how that just went. Now, it is, they don't stack like extra attack. Extra attack, aerial down by 60 and ground down by 60 do not stack. You cannot have them go again and again. In other words, you cannot get 120% ground enemy down or ground enemy air down, or sorry, ground enemy air. You cannot get a ground enemy or ground aerial. I'm saying it again. You can't get ground or aerial up to 120% because they don't stack that way per metal. Now, if you have another metal that has it on it, then it can use that one too. But again, it's only gonna be 60. It won't be. It won't cover your entire keyblade setup there, which is fine. But they did that change, and that was a very good change, because people were avoiding the enemy ground and enemy aerial almost as much as they were avoiding the stash resistance traits. I was doing the same thing too. Now I'm not. Now if I see that, I'm very, very happy. The only way that really changes for the most part is on very, very select metals. And I mean things like high score challenge metals. For high score challenges, you want a metal that a single metal is going to be your MVP. It's going to be your main damage dealer. And you want that particular metal to deal 1 major hit, so that you get all the points possible out of that hit. Because anytime you get a multi-hit metal, and that multi-hit metal, like say it's a 5-hit metal, and only 3 of those hits actually hit, you're losing 2 hits of score. They're just gone. And so you actually end up losing score out of that way. So for high score challenges, you always want that single target, single hitting metal, or AoE, it doesn't matter, it doesn't have to be single target. You always want that single attack metal, that's what you want going into there. And in that case, having strength plus 1000, which is the next one up on the list there, is going to be a very good thing to have for your high score challenge events. For Laxius B, for instance, I think where's he? He's up going to be sugar. There we go. Where's he at? There he is. Alright, so for my Laxius B, I got ground enemy defense 96 on him, and that was very good, but in some regards, I almost kind of wish I would have gotten aerial or even the strength plus 1000 on him, because he is a multi-hitting metal. Kind of disappointing there. Having that on there would have been very good, but in this case, having that, sorry, where's that? Herkenfill. Herkenfill would have been a great one to have it on. I did, unfortunately, guilted him right before the traits came out, so I kind of lost out on him, sadly. But having plus 1,000 traits on him would have been amazing, because he's a very good high score challenge metal. He is an AoE single target hitting metal, and you can use him in this current high score challenge. Any high score challenge that gives you the 3 paths to choose from, be it power, speed, or magic, you have your medals ready to go and set up for that, which makes them amazing. It's why I actually really like these multi-path high score challenges, because it gives people more options to utilize different medal setups for what they have to get higher scores, which is great, depending upon what you have. But things that Laxus B, when I saw him, if you guys want to watch, Smelly Octopus did a spotlight medal or spotlight video on this guy, which was amazing. It showed what he could do both without buffs, with buffs, and then being Chippendale and skilled out. He deals a lot of damage, so much damage. And this guy is going to be amazing for those particular quests and even Coliseum events against certain speed enemies. So in a lot of ways, I almost wish I would have gotten aerial defense down on this guy instead, because some of the strongest speed problems are aerial ones. And I mean black copter fleets and yellow copter fleets in particular. Invisibles are up there. Aeroplanes are up there as well. They can be either speed or power, I think. But I think they're speed usually. Yeah, something like that. But in particular, mostly the Invisibles and the Black Copter fleets are be the main ones. This guy is going to just demolish Black Copter fleets. He is going to wreck their worlds, and it's going to be a glorious thing to see. So I'm really looking forward to him for that reason alone. And it's kind of wishing I wish I could have gotten aerial defense on him instead of the ground defense on him. But on the flip side, this guy is also going to take out cannon guns really, really nicely, because they are ground speed. And a few of the plants as well. Some of those higher level plants, he's also going to knock out pretty good too as well. So he's going to be good for that one. But mainly he's really good against Copter Fleet. So if you guys get aerial enemy down by 60 on him, you guys are going to be pretty set in terms of him going forward with your metal setups there. But that's what I'm saying. It's going to depend upon the metal and what you want to do with it. If you have multiple copies of the metal, then obviously you're going to have more than one option to go through and utilize them. So for instance, right now I have two illustrated Roxases right here. Here's my main one. He has Tapestry Max on him, and he also has extra attack and damage and raids. So this is going to be an amazing raid metal setup against those magic raid bosses. Once I get a few more luck skills, which I'm hoping to get soon one of these days, I'm definitely going to use them in my setup there. He's going to be great for that. That's going to be, especially since his max buffer of 3.5 comes with more gauges filled. Makes sense. He'll work really good with that one. On this one right here, I have max gauge plus 2. So that's not too bad, but I'll be keeping it in line with this guy going in next one. And since he is a buffer, he does buff your speed-based strength by 3 tiers for 1 turn. You do want to get double cast on this guy. And then honestly, I'd probably like to see again, ground or aerial defense down, I'm happy to see, but I'd also be happy to see double cast and strength plus 1,000 on this guy too, because he can be a general damage dealer regardless. So that way he'll deal good damage against with air and ground regardless of the other one. Plus with double cast, it'll work better, and he'll buff up my other metals going down and forward. So there are options for this guy too. If you have multiple copies of metals, you can utilize them and separate them from different things. But mainly, it's going to be what you guys want to do with things. So for traits going forward, I mean, the main things I want to see are double cast on your buffers or your debuffers. And debuffing metals are the same thing as buffers, only they debuff the enemies. So they lower their defense down in some form or aspect. I got lucky with that one down here on my Key Art 7. There he is. Key Art 7 right here for me. Got a process resist, which is but he did get the extra attack. So that means I can get rid of that process resist when I get another copy of him to fuse in there and hopefully get a better trait on him. But since he does have extra attack now, he is going to deal general defense down by twice now, which would be great. And since I put the AB3 max plus activate 2 on him, he won't cost as much, so that's going to be even better for me going forward. He's only going to cost 4 to activate twice, and instead of 8 to activate twice. So having that, having extra attack on your buffers or debuffers is priority. That's going to be one thing you always want to try and roll into as best as possible. Metals like Name 2, you also want double cast. I unfortunately got sleep on her, so that's not sad, but again, I'll get later on and change it out. She's not a buffer or a debuffer, but she has the potential to be a buffer or debuffer for a 0 cost, so that's why you definitely want extra attack on her. After that, aerial and ground defense, you definitely want those on metals, on damage dealing metals, and you're going to know what you're going to encounter for the most part. If you're going to see things like, if you're trying to make like a raid setup, most raid bosses are ground based. They're not air based, except for like the queen bees are the only air based ones we've seen it. I don't know if the savage spider counts as an air based one actually. It might. I don't know, but the queen bees, for instance, are definitely aerial based. But for the most part, having a ground down by 60% will be great for raids as an attacking medal, and then also a luck skill on that one. But generally speaking, aerial and ground are the next best skills to get on your setups. After that, I'm going to say it'd be strength plus 1,000, because that makes the medal good for attacking all types, be it air or ground. So that works out really well for them. After that, it's going to be a toss-up between what you guys want. SP gauge plus 2 is very good. HP plus 800 is okay, but for the most part, I will always switch out HP plus 800 for SP gauge 2 if I see the option there, because having more SP on your setups is always better to run those more expensive medals. And medals are getting more and more expensive. They're not getting cheaper. For instance, Aladdin and a Genie cost 2, but Aladdin and Abu cost 4. Key Art 7 costs 4. I believe Key Art 6 also costs 4. Pluto B costs 3. It's not bad, but it's still kind of pricey for the defense boost there, unfortunately. Tremaine and Daughters cost 3. But medals are coming out, and they are getting a bit more expensive to run, unfortunately. Like, you know, those 4 and 5 costs now. Laxus B costs 5. Zaldin costs 4. Zaldin B costs 4. Zigbar B costs 6. It's a great medal, but it is very, very expensive. So having the extra SP gauge is a good thing to have, and I'll take that over HP plus 100. And then after that, of course, you're going to drop into the stash resistance medals. And again, we all want to avoid those as best as possible. Defense plus 2,000 is also up there. I would put defense on the same tier of want as, well, actually, I wouldn't. I would put defense plus 2,000 pretty much either right behind strength plus 1,000 or right after SP gauge plus 2 in terms of when and what I wanted. A good example of that one would be my Ty right here. Unfortunately, I got damage and raids plus 40 and defense plus 2,000 on her. I'm definitely going to keep the defense plus 2,000 on her, but I will get rid of the damage and raids on her and put in the double cast as soon as I'm able to get double cast. Or if I get a second defense plus 2,000, I'll put that one there instead. I made a mistake on her. I did have the double defense plus 1,000s, but I actually hit accept instead of skip. And so I ended up getting damage and raids, which is kind of disappointing, but it's okay. But a medal like her, yeah, she's a good one to have extra defense on for sure, because she helps buff you. But if I see an SP gauge plus 2 on her, I would actually highly consider changing out the defense plus 2,000 for the SP gauge 2 just to get some more gauge for the rest of my medals, since they are getting more expensive. It's going to depend upon the setup. So a lot of the traits are going to depend upon what you do with them, and or what you want to do with them, and then what they are. Again, more often than not, for any kind of medal that buffs you, you're going to want double cast. Again, my World of Chaos here. I got lucky here, got extra attack and damage and raid. So this makes it a very good raid medal to utilize. It's not quite on par with Ursula, HE Ursula, but still very good for raiding as well. Definitely want to get some more on that one. My HE Ursula right here, I only have extra attack and max haste plus 2. So definitely the extra attack, but if I get raid damage plus 40 on her, she's going to hit so very hard for me. As it stands, when she's buffed, she's already dealing between 120 and 130k per hit. That's per hit, guys. She hits 5 times, which means she's dealing almost 600,000 damage when all is said and done when she first goes off. And then she'll deal about 60,000 damage on the second attack as well per hit. So she deals a lot of damage, and with that raid one there, or even ground enemy down by 60% against like Omega Behemoths and like Gummy Hounds and such, she is just going to demolish them and like laugh while she does it. So great things to have on those ones. It's going to be things like that you're going to switch around and have to figure out what you want on your medals going forward. Key Art, 8 hits, raise the strength of all attributes by 1 tier for 2 turns. I did get extra on this one, which is great. Very lucky for me on that one, especially since it only costs 1. It's a great cost for a great effect on this one. So buffers, extra attack, your main damage dealers, definitely you want aerial and ground defense down by 60 for enemies. That's the best one to have. If you're able to get a combination of both those skills, it's even better. They're going to be good against no matter what you do. For those tier 3s that only have 1 slot though, you're going to have to pick and choose what you're going to want to get on them, unfortunately. Like my Ice Titan here, for instance, I would probably want to get probably plus strength of 1,000 on this guy more than likely, but I don't know, something like that. Because he does deal a lot of damage to it regardless. He does cost 4 though, so you know, if you're going to use him in the future or not, that's going to be up to you guys. For a while there though, when he first came out, he was definitely one of my big damage dealers for sure. But that's kind of what you have to think about for traits. I just kind of want to go over my ideas on traits. I know I got kind of rambly a little bit, but traits are interesting, and I've had a lot of questions upon what traits are best for what metals. I hope this gives you guys an idea of my thought process and what I think would be good traits going forward for different metals and how you're going to use them. The only real universal that I've seen for the most part is on buff and debuff metals, you want extra attack. Aside from that, it's going to be situational. What things are keeping you guys stuck? Where do you guys really want to shine going through? Where do you really want to focus on? Do you want to focus more on rating? Do you want to focus more on high score challenges? What metals you have will determine that and how you're going to operate that going forward. So, like I said, hit or miss. Since most high score challenges do tend to be have copter fleets in them as like some of the main baddies in there, in a lot of ways, I want to say that aerial defense down by 60 will be great for a lot of raid setups there. But again, with high score challenges, you want to do your best against all enemy types. So strength plus 1000 is really good for the majority of your high score challenge MVP medals. So something to definitely consider when you guys are doing things. If you guys have any other questions or any other insight to offer for these, be sure to leave me down a comment down below. Other than that, thank you guys for watching. I hope this video was a little more informative, aside from it being rambling like it was, I guess. But let me know what you guys think about it down in the comments. So, thanks for watching, guys. You guys have a great night. See ya.